Welcome back, everybody. This is Zach with New Angle Sports Talk, and today we are recapping the 2019 draft profile review of Brandon Clarke, 6'8", 215-pound junior forward out of Gonzaga, a stud of a prospect. He's a fantastic player, and we're going to go over what he's all about. Before we jump in, though, remember to go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and leave a comment if you haven't already, and let me know what you think about Brandon Clarke at the end of the video. Alright, so you're about to see really quickly what Brandon Clarke is all about, and it's shot blocking and defense. He's fantastic at it. He led the NCAA in shot blocking. There's nobody who is better shot blocker coming into this draft, or even last year, than Brandon Clarke. He is a stud on the defensive end, and he's only 6'8" too. He's not 7 feet tall like Bobo or Taco Fall or any of those other guys. He's only 6'8". He's a fantastic player and fantastic shot blocker as well. Not only just shot blocking, just going straight up, but he's really good at the weak side defender. He does really good at that, and he doesn't foul a lot, given the fact that he's very aggressive on the defensive end. That's like a gem right there as far as the defensive end. If you can have a shot blocker he's not the tallest, but he works with what he's got. He can come from the weak side, and he doesn't foul. That is ideal. And this might just be one of the biggest gems coming into this draft here, guys. But also, not only is it shot blocking, it doesn't just stop there, but he actually averaged a steal a game as well last season, which isn't bad given the fact that he's 6'8" and his primary part of the defense is shot blocking. The fact that he can get a steal a game isn't bad. I'll take that any day at all. Now let's dive a little bit deeper in his defensive game. He doesn't just sit at the rim and block shots, so either he also switches really well on defense when he's in the pick and roll. He can really guard anybody from the 1 position all the way to the 4 position. Sometimes he does have a little bit of difficulty with the 5 position, but 1 through 4 he can get them. He's agile, he's fast, and he can stay with his guys. Now on the offensive end, a lot of his points are just coming from the paint. He's a good finisher though. He runs really well in transition. He's a little bit lighter, he's a little bit shorter, so his ability to run in transition actually helps him out a lot on the offensive end and get some easy, quick buckets for him. Now his growth areas for him is the weight area. He only has 215 pounds for him, and that's not that good. He's got to be a little bit heavier. The fact that he is 23 years old, typically some of these lighter prospects, if they're younger, you just assume that they haven't filled out their body yet. Because he's 23 years old, you'd assume by this point that he does have a little bit more weight on him and strength. He's really got to have to be able to prove that he can bang at the bottom, bang in the paint with some of these bigger guys like a Rudy Gobert or Hassan Whiteside or Draymond Green as well. Some of these really big guys who just can move at will in the paint. If he's going to be able to guard those guys at a high level, he's got to put some weight on, and it's got to happen pretty quickly in my opinion. The second thing is also free throw shooting, and then the third thing is 3-point shooting. Just his shooting just in general has to get a little bit more consistent. He can shoot threes, but he isn't very comfortable shooting threes, it looks like, just from the games that I had watched. He's very comfortable shooting when he's wide open, but obviously that's not going to happen too much in the NBA. He's just got to be able to be a more confident shooter, and also the free throw shooting, he's got to be more consistent at that. At this point, his defensive ability is so promising. The fact that he does have some offensive flaws, I think that he's going to be able to really contain that and really help improve his offensive game once he gets in with a team, once he gets into the summer league, once he gets into rotation, once he gets into an offensive scheme. They're going to really be able to highlight Brandon Clarke, give him a lot of confidence, and let him grow at the next level. And I think he's going to be fantastic. Again, I don't know where he's going to get drafted at. Maybe I'm going to do some mock drafts, and we'll talk about where some of these players are going to go, most likely, at least the ones that I've reviewed. Probably I can't review everybody that I didn't even review yet. Like, I can't do a mock draft on everybody, but I can try my best, and just let me know what you think. But Brandon Clarke is a guy, if he drops, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. You're getting a stud defensively. He can come in day 1 and play good defensively and get into an early rotation. If you're the Atlanta Hawks and you're just building from the ground up, you know, if you need defense, Trae Young doesn't really provide a lot of defense, obviously, because of his size. If you can put a Brandon Clarke in there, that's a pretty cool situation for him. Obviously, not just the Hawks. There's a lot of other players that could, or a lot of other teams, like maybe the Miami Heat as well, could use him. There's a lot of different players or a lot of teams that could take this player and really help him grow really well at the next level. Now, let's talk about his overall season last year. 2018-2019 stats is what I'm going to put up there for you. He did average 17 points a game, 8.6 rebounds, 2 assists a game, and about almost 69% shooting from the field. So not bad at all, given the fact that a lot of his points do come from around the rim. The fact that he can score at such a consistent rate at 17 points a game is actually pretty promising, and he's not a bad mid-range shooter at all or anything like that. It's just being more consistent with that shot because he can hit it down. And a lot of the players that we've already reviewed, like Taco Fall, like Bobo, like some of these other players, the reason why Brandon Clarke is probably going to go a lot higher than any of those guys, maybe even higher than Jackson Hayes as well, is because of the fact that he's able to bring a more consistent offense and just a broader offensive game just in general. But just like every other prospect, he does have some areas to grow on. Now, let's talk about his blocks again, because I wanted to highlight this again. I know I've been talking about his blocks a lot, but he's got so many of them. He had 9 games with 5 or more blocks last season. He had 2 games with 6 blocks or more last season. So fantastic. He's so consistent. I didn't put his blocks on the screen, but I wanted just to bring that up as well, just so you can see. 5 blocks, 9 games with 5 or more blocks. 2 games with 6 or more blocks. That's fantastic. That's incredible. I can't believe that. He's going to bring that over to the next level, and I don't think there's really any question about that either. So now let's talk about his comparison that I have for him. This one's a fun one. This one was a guy that I actually watched a lot when I was younger, and he really played really well for his teams that he played on, mostly the Knicks and mostly the New Jersey Nets and other teams like that. But Kenyon Martin is who I've got for him. Similar size, similar build, similar type game, fantastic defender. Doesn't have much of an offensive game outside of the paint or outside of just the mid-range, but has the potential to develop it eventually. Kenyon Martin didn't really develop it, but the game was different back then. Brandon Clarke, I think he will. But he's a bulldog on the defensive end. He's shot blocking. He's going to make you think twice before you get into the paint. And he's not even 7 feet tall either. The fact that he can guard from the point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward really made Kenyon Martin such an effective defender and made him so important to a lot of teams. That's going to be the same thing that Brandon Clarke's going to bring to his teams and whoever is lucky enough to draft him in a couple weeks. So guys, that was it. That was my review for Brandon Clarke. As always, if there's something that you want me to talk about or a player you want me to review, just leave it in the comments, and also on this player as well too. Let me know what you think about Brandon Clarke. So as always guys, we will see you in the next one.